Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are talking about a different kind of transformation. Forget the huge, dramatic, overnight success stories. We're going deep on the small, tiny, consistent changes that actually lead to massive, life-altering results. We're going to explore the science of how to build good habits, finally get rid of the bad ones, and basically redesign your life one small step at a time. Let's jump right in.
Does this sound familiar? You get that huge burst of motivation, usually right around January 1st, and you set these massive goals. You think, this is it. This is the year I finally get it together. But then, just a few weeks later, you're right back where you started. It's so frustrating, right? So how do we actually break that cycle and make the changes we want stick for good? Well, that's exactly what we're going to figure out today.
Okay, the math on this is kind of mind-blowing. We've all been taught that if you want huge results, you have to take massive action. But look at this. Improving by just 1% every single day doesn't make you just a little bit better over a year. No, it makes you nearly 38 times better. And on the flip side, getting 1% worse each day doesn't just set you back a little. It basically erodes all of your progress down to almost nothing. This compounding effect, it's always working, whether we're paying attention or not.
Here's a great way to think about it. Imagine a plane taking off from New York, heading for Los Angeles. But right at takeoff, the pilot adjusts the nose of the plane just 3 degrees south. It's such a tiny change you wouldn't even notice it from the ground. But by the time that plane crosses the country, it's not going to land in LA. It's going to land hundreds of miles away in Tijuana, Mexico. And that's exactly how our daily habits work. These tiny, seemingly insignificant choices can completely change where we end up in life.
So, here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to bust the myth of massive action. Then, we'll get into the most important part, changing your identity, not just your goals. After that, we'll break down the simple 4-step blueprint for how all habits work. And finally, we'll put it all together with a real-world example so you can see exactly how it's done.
All right, let's dive into our first big idea. We are conditioned to think that success demands some huge, heroic effort, a single quantum leap. But the truth is, real, lasting change almost never works that way.
And this quote just nails it. Success isn't born from some single dramatic event. It's the result of our boring daily habits, just stacked on top of each other, day in and day out. It's all the small, consistent efforts that nobody sees, the stuff that doesn't make the headlines, that ultimately lead to incredible results. It's all about consistency over intensity.
We all think progress should be this neat, straight line going up. You put in the work today, you see the results tomorrow. Simple. But in reality, progress looks a lot more like this curve. There's this long initial phase where it feels like you're working your tail off, but you're seeing almost nothing for it.
This flat part of the curve has a name, the Valley of Disappointment. And this is exactly where most people give up. You've been hitting the gym for a month, but you look in the mirror and not much has changed. You've been practicing an instrument for weeks, but you still sound pretty clumsy. It is so frustrating because you feel like you're putting in all this effort for zero return. But here's the secret. This is also where the magic is about to happen. The most powerful outcomes are always delayed. You just have to have the patience to push through this valley to get to the really steep part of the curve.
Okay, now for what I think is the most critical mindset shift in this whole explainer. We're going to talk about why focusing on who you want to become is so much more powerful than just focusing on what you want to achieve.
This is such a powerful idea. Goals are about the results you want. Systems are about the processes that get you there. Now, we're always told to set big, audacious goals, but what if you just ignored your goals completely and only focused on your system? The argument is that you'd still get there. And why is that? Because winners and losers often have the exact same goals. Every single athlete at the Olympics wants to win a gold medal. So the goal itself isn't what separates them. The system is.
Let's really look at this comparison. A goal is a one-time thing. I want to run a marathon. So what happens after you cross that finish line? Well, for a lot of people, the motivation just disappears and they slide right back into their old routines. But an identity is about who you are. I want to become a runner. See, a runner runs, not just on race day, but on a cold Tuesday morning and on a Friday afternoon after a crazy week at work. The identity is what keeps the behavior going long after any specific goal has been checked off the list.
So all of our behaviors operate on 3 layers. On the outside, you have your outcomes, the results. In the middle, you have your process, the habits and systems. But at the very core, the most important layer is your identity, what you believe about yourself. Now, most of us try to change from the outside in. We start with the outcome we want. But real lasting change works from the inside out.
Our brains crave consistency. They hate it when our actions don't line up with who we think we are. So if you start by changing your identity, by deciding, I am a healthy person, your brain will naturally start to align your actions with that belief, making the change feel like a part of you, not a chore.
Okay, so we've covered the why, the power of 1%, and the importance of identity. Now it's time to get into the how. Think of this next section as the user manual for your brain. We're going to break down the mechanics of every single habit you have, whether it's good or bad.
So it turns out every single habit follows this exact same 4-step loop. First, there's a cue, a trigger. Let's say your phone buzzes on the table. That's the cue. Second, that cue creates a craving. You want to know why it buzzed. Who texted? What did they say? Third, you have the response, which is the action itself. You pick up the phone and look at it. And finally, you get the reward. Ah, the mystery is solved. That feeling of satisfaction tells your brain, hey, that was good, let's do that again next time. And that little loop repeated over and over is how a behavior becomes an automatic habit.
So, if we want to take control and actually design our habits, we have to hack that loop. And this table? This is our cheat sheet. These are the 4 laws of behavior change. To build a good habit, all you have to do is make the cue obvious, make the craving attractive, make the response easy, and make the reward satisfying. And if you want to break a bad habit, you just flip them. Make it invisible, unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying. This right here is our practical playbook.
All right, theory is great, but let's make this super practical. We're going to walk through a real-world example of using these 4 laws to build a good habit from scratch, and then use them to break a bad one. This is where it all comes together.
So let's say our goal is to build a consistent workout habit. Now, notice where we're starting. We're not starting with the outcome, like I want to lose 10 pounds. No, we start with identity. The focus immediately shifts to becoming the kind of person who doesn't miss workouts. That's the anchor for everything that follows.
Okay, let's apply the 4 laws. Law 1, make it obvious. So lay out your workout clothes the night before, put your dumbbells right in the middle of the living room floor so you can't miss them. Law 2, make it attractive. Find a podcast or a playlist you absolutely love and make a rule that you can only listen to it while you're working out. Law 3, make it easy. This one's huge. Use the 2-minute rule. Your goal isn't to do a 1-hour workout. It's just to put on your workout clothes. That's it. Anyone can do that. And finally, Law 4, make it satisfying. Get a calendar and put a big X through every day you stick to the habit. That little visual proof of progress is an incredibly powerful reward.
Now what about breaking a bad habit, like mindlessly scrolling social media when you should be working? We just invert the laws. First, make it invisible. This is the easiest one. Just delete the apps from your phone. Put your phone in a totally different room. If you can't see the cue, the habit never starts. Second, make it unattractive. Reframe your mindset. Tell yourself, endlessly scrolling is for consumers. I want to be a producer. Make the habit seem like a sign of weakness. Third, make it difficult. Add friction. Put your phone in a drawer, in a bag, at the bottom of a closet. Make it a real pain to get to it. And finally, make it unsatisfying. Bring in an accountability partner and raise the stakes. Make a rule. If you catch me on Instagram during work, I have to give you $10. That immediate pain will make the habit way less appealing, fast.
And here is a super important rule for when things inevitably go sideways. Because look, life is going to happen. You'll get sick, you'll have a bad day, you'll miss a workout. That's okay. Perfection is not the goal here. Consistency is. And the rule is simple. Never miss twice. Missing 1 day is an accident. Missing 2 days is the beginning of a brand new bad habit. So on those days you don't feel like it, don't try to be perfect. Just show up. Do 5 push-ups instead of 50. The point isn't the workout itself. It's about casting another vote for your new identity and not breaking the chain.
And really, this quote sums up the entire philosophy perfectly. Your identity isn't fixed. It's something you build, one piece of evidence at a time. Every single time you choose to go for a run, you are casting a vote for I am a runner. Every time you write 1 page, you cast a vote for I am a writer. These tiny actions, these little daily votes, are what accumulate over time to literally shape the person you become.
And that really brings us to the most important question of all. We're so obsessed with asking what do I want to achieve, but the real starting point, the question that unlocks real change, is who do I wish to become? It's not about the finish line. It's about the person you build yourself into along the journey. So think about it. Who do you wish to become? Start there. The rest will follow.